Yes, guys, yes, people, welcome back to Eli Talks Football and welcome to another video. Hope you guys are doing all right today. And today is Friday, and you know what that means? It's time to do the Premier League predictions, as you can see over here, for game week number 2. Last week was the start of the Premier League, and we had some entertainment, we had some shock ones, and we had some boring ones. But hopefully, this weekend things can all change and there's a lot of games to be looking forward to, but the big one is Man City versus Tottenham. Now I don't know why that game isn't on a Sunday at 4:30 p.m. kickoff because that's a big game. I don't know why they put it on to Saturday lunchtime, but that game should have been on a Sunday, but it is what it is, man. But yeah, that game will be the big one. Man City at home to Tottenham. Could Man City finally beat Tottenham at home like they didn't do over the last 3 seasons? Or can Tottenham continue to have a good record at the Etihad? That's gonna be some game. I'm looking forward to that one. But before I get into that game and the rest of the games, if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification so they never miss any of my content, and make sure you share this video to all your friends and your family. And also, at the end of this video, I'll be asking you guys if you agree or disagree with my predictions, and then if you got your predictions, do let me know in the comments down below. So I'll be asking you that at the end of this video. Alright, so without wasting any more time, let's start. So, let's start off with the game tonight. And it's a London derby, another one for Chelsea, where they go away to East London to face West Ham United. Of course, both teams did a win on the weekend, but West Ham got absolutely battered and destroyed by the newly promoted team Sunderland away from home at the Stadium of Light, 3-0. I mean, boy, West Ham, man, um I said that they will finish 16th because Graham Potter is a good manager, but I don't think he'll work for West Ham. And I was listening to Talksport last week, and I heard some fans saying Graham Potter out, and I'm thinking this is his first game. This is first game. I know you're frustrated, but this is first game. But if West Ham do lose this game, then I understand people's concern because West Ham need to find a way to survive because the last time they've been relegated was in 2011, I think. That was like 14 years ago. So West Ham really need to step up. Really need to step up. Now, before I get into my predictions, I did watch the press conference and there's some good news and a bit of bad news. So the good news is that Tosin is available today and also waits for Fana. So both of them could see them play later today. But I feel like for me, since Tosin's available, I feel like the centre backs will be Chalobah and Tosin. That is what I think. But we'll see what happens when the lineup comes out. So that's the good news. The bad news is that Badishil and Lavia is still injured, but they will return. And also, he talked about Ways for Fana about the Instagram deleting Chelsea, and he says he's happy to stay here. It's nothing to do um, with him leaving Chelsea. It's the fact that he was very happy. Like he doesn't know the situation, but he only told he was happy. And then one of the correspondent or panelists asked him about if we're going to see Liam Delap and João Pedro playing at the same time, and and then he said Enzo Maresca that João Pedro can be played in all 5 positions, whether it's a false nine or the number 10 playing behind the striker, left wing or right wing, he can play in that position. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what he does. Would he put? It's gonna be interesting because if he puts João Pedro in the 10, then it probably means that Liam Delap might start up top, um, Cole Palmer on the right, and Pedro Neto on the left. That is what I think it might happen tonight, but we shall wait and see. But my predicted lineup and the players I want to see starting for me is Robert Sanchez in goal. Yes, he kept a clean sheet, but for me, he's still awful. In terms of right back, Reece James. Left back is Marco Cuellar. Now, if Tosin is available to start this game, then I'll go for him playing on the right centre back and Chalobah on the left. If he's not available to start, then just put Josh Armstrong as right centre back. Or maybe or if Razor Fano wants to start, let him. But I don't think I don't want to see that happening. So for me, Josh Armstrong on the right centre back role. In terms of the midfield, I'm gonna go for Enzo Fernandez and Moise Caicedo. And this time, I do not want to see Caicedo, being on an island all by himself. And I definitely don't want to see Enzo Fernandez playing on the right side of the pitch. Because when I looked at our passing map in the game against Crystal Palace, it was basically like a diamond shape. So we had Robert Sanchez in goal, then we had Chalobah on the left, Josh Armstrong plays as a centre back, which is definitely not his role, and Reece James playing as a right centre back. And then we had Kukurea inverted as always, but Moise Caicedo was all by himself. He was on an island playing as a lone DM, which makes no sense. And then we had, so we had Kukurea playing as a left inverted role, and then we basically had so we had Jamie Gitts playing as a left wing, and then um, and then we had what do you call it? Mark Cucurella inverting, and then it looks like Enzo Fernandez is playing more as a right midfielder, like a right eight. And for me, it makes no sense. Like Enzo Fernandez should be playing as a left half space or left number 10. Because when he put in that position, he's a great player. He can make passes, he can score goals, he can create as well. So I think for me, this game against West Ham, yes, Enzo Fernandez was poor, but the tactics were really, really poor from Enzo Maresca. So for me, I need to see Mark Cucurella, inverting and playing alongside Caicedo, because I don't want to see Caicedo playing as a lone DM yet again. Then for me, put Enzo Fernandez on the left, Cole Palmer on the right half space, and then Estevao. I need to see him starting because I don't think Pedro Neto was better on the left when he played against Palace than he did on the right, and I don't think Jamie Gittins wasn't that great against Palace. I think for me, if we can get Jamie Gittins off the bench, then maybe and he does something, then maybe that's what I see him doing because I want to see Palmer and Estevao have that link up play the way I saw in pre-season when we beat Leverkusen and AC Milan. So yeah, so basically Enzo Fernandez when we're in possession, of course, Enzo Fernandez on the left half space, Cole Palmer on the right 10, Estevao on the right wing, Pedro Neto on the left wing, and then João Pedro. I know people main was disappointed, including myself. But this is his first game in the Premier League. It's going to take some time, but hopefully we'll give him enough service because I need to see a much better performance, a much better passing, and a much better cross. Because that game against Palace was a flat, poor performance. It really was. So today I need to see us win against West Ham because if we don't, then I'm going to be concerned because West Ham lost 3-0 last week against an only promoted team, Sunderland, at the Stadium of Light. So we have to win this game. We have to. So for this game, I'm going to go for the same scoreline that Chelsea did last season, which was 3-0. Of course, Nicholas Jackson isn't there, but hopefully Joe Pedro can do what Nicholas Jackson did, which is going to goals. So yeah, I'm gonna go 3-0 Chelsea. My goal scores for this evening, well later today. I'm gonna go Cole Palmer to score, hopefully, and João Pedro to score, and Estevao to score. So yeah, 3-0 to Chelsea. It's gonna be my prediction for that game later today. And there will be a live watch along and a match reaction after that. So make sure you guys tune in. So yeah, 3-0 to Chelsea is my prediction on that game later today. Then we move on into Saturday, and the big one, of course, is at the Etihad Stadium where Manchester City face Tottenham Hotspur. Now I'm gonna be reading you guys um the stat for that game because I love to read stats before the game. So here it is. Man City have won just four, I repeat, four of the last 12 Premier League games against Tottenham Hotspur, drawing twice and losing six times. They'll beat them 1-0 in the last meeting in February. The last secured consecutive league wins against Spurs between December 2017 and April 2019, which is four times. Spurs have won two of the last four Premier League games at the Etihad Stadium, more than they had in the previous 11 phases combined. Following their 4-0 victory last season, they're looking for consecutive wins against away at Man City for the first time since May 2010, which is 15 years ago. The last four Premier League meetings between Man City and Tottenham at the Etihad produces 21 goals, 9 for Man City and 12 for Spurs, with the away side netting at least twice in all four. The last side to score more than two goals in consecutive top flight away games against Man City were Sunderland between 1980 and 2000. So the Liverpool has done it more times than any other one. So there we go. Since the start of April, Man City have picked up more points than any other Premier League side, which is 26 times, and their only ever present side to remain unbeaten in that time, winning 8 and drawing 2. They've also had the most clean sheets and faced the fewest shots per game of any side in the division since April, which is 7.6. And finally, Tottenham Hotspur are looking to win their first two Premier League games in the season for the first time since 21-22. That was under Nuno Espirito de Santo, which was also the last time a manager won his first two games with Spurs. They are winless in the last 11 games against non-Lily Protest sides. However, since a 1-0 win over Man United in February. Sorry, guys. But there we go. Right. This game is going to be tough because both teams looked really good, but what I will say is that Man City faced Wolves, which they were without Cunha, and all of that stuff. Whereas for Tottenham, they faced Burnley, which I did say they are going to get relegated. So they haven't faced like really good teams, but it's so difficult to predict because Man City, Winders looked absolutely impressive in his debut. I believe he scored a goal and got two assists. He looked really good. With Charlison, Mohamed Kundus as well. First Premier League debut looked really impressive. Got two goals. For the Richarlison, which by the way, that second goal, like I said last week, it was only game week one, and he could be a contender for goal of the season already. Like it's absolutely crazy. So yeah, both Mohamed Kudus and Reinders looked really good on the debut. The question is, which one of these two will help their team to win? Would it be Winders or Wine Cherky potentially, or could it be Mohamed Kudus or Richarlison? But both Mohamed Kudus and Richarlison, that's going to be an interesting one. Like, it's so difficult for me to predict. My first thought is that Man City is going to win this game. But, but, if Thomas Frank can do what he did against PSG, which is, just hit them on the counter attack, try and create and, just frustrate Man City, I think they'll win. I think so. But if they go out, too defensive, just and not have anyone, just potentially play a high line and with no defenders or no fullbacks defending, then I feel like they might get destroyed. So for this game which is tomorrow, it's so difficult to predict. My first thought is that Man City are going to win, but I feel like it's going to be a draw. I'm gonna go for Desmond 2-2 because I feel actually, yeah, I'm gonna go for 2-2, yeah, because it's so difficult to predict, man. Like Man City, uh, defense have improved, But like I said, they face Wolves and they're about to face a Tottenham team, which under Thomas Frank looked really good. Lost a few games, but he has been looking good for Tottenham Hotspur so far. Now, what I will say is that Tottenham Hotspur, this is why they called Spursy, because about on Monday we heard David Ornstein tweeting that says Tottenham reached an agreement with Crystal Palace. Sorry, Tottenham reached an agreement with Crystal Palace to get Eberici Eze. The deal hasn't been done yet, but it looks like the deal is close. You know, and Tottenham were this close to signing Eze over Arsenal. They were this close. But 2 days ago, which is but before I went to my music, early in the morning, Fabrizio Romano has tweeted that Kai Havertz will be out for Arsenal for a couple of either weeks or months because of a small knee injury. So when that happened, yeah, Arsenal were in deep trouble that time. But then, after my music, that's when the drama really happened. Really happened. Because I believe at about 7:30 ish, I don't know what time they posted this, but about 7:30 ish here from after I finish my music lesson, David Ornstein dropped a bomber and he said that Arsenal are looking to hijack Eze from Tottenham. They are looking to do that. And then 2 hours later, we heard that David Ornstein posted a tweet that says Arsenal reached an agreement with Crystal Palace to sign Eze for around 60 million euros. And then a few minutes later, Fabrizio Romano can confirm that Eze to Arsenal is a here we go. So instead of him doing the celebration with an Arsenal kit, sorry, with a Tottenham kit, he is doing it with he's posting it with an Arsenal kit. And I tell you what, yeah, that would have been a great signing for Tottenham because they need a number 10. They really did. Arsenal, maybe they needed someone that can create because Odegaard in the last 2 games hasn't been that great. But our Tottenham desperately needed Eze because Kulusevski is still injured and James Madison still has an ACL, so he's going to miss the rest of this season. So the question is, who's going to be creating, for the wingers and for Charlison? There is no one. So Tottenham have absolutely bottled it, and that's why that's why I would laugh at Tottenham fans, but I feel sorry for them because Daniel Levy. I keep asking this question. Daniel Levy is the main issue at this Tottenham because he doesn't care. He was saying in his interview they wants Tottenham to win. He wants to see Tottenham win in the Premier League and the Championship League. Well, first of all, that ain't gonna happen. And second of all, if that's the case here, why did you not get Morgan Gibbs White over the line? The same goes for Savinho from Man City and also Eze. Why could you not get it over the line? Why do you have to wait for so long that your biggest rivals, Arsenal, in North London, had to do it in 2 hours while you guys had to, sort it out in like 2 weeks? For me, it makes no sense. If you want to act like a big club, get the deal over the line. You see what happened? I know that Chelsea are taking too long for Xavi Simons and Chelsea, and Garnacho to Chelsea, but it's going to happen. I remember last season where nobody expected Chelsea to sign Neto. It happened so quick. But the reason why it did that is because Chelsea added a big club and wanted to get it over the line. The likes of Neto. Yes, sometimes we take too long, the likes of Mike Mayan and stuff like that. But we are a big club. Many teams want to go to Chelsea. And you look at João Pedro. He wanted to go to Chelsea, score goals and win trophies. And that's what he did. That's exactly what he did. And that's why Tottenham, for me, aren't a big club. Because they simply cannot get it over the line. So for me, Tottenham fans, you just got to accept that you're not a big club. Yes, you won the Europa League, but that doesn't mean you're still a big club. You'll always be Spurs, you'll always bottle it, and you just got to accept it. And it's not because of your players or the manager, it's because of your owner. And nothing will change until Daniel Levy gets out. So for me, as a Chelsea fan, Daniel Levy in all day. But if as a football fan, I feel like needs something needs to change. And probably the next home game, they'll probably protesting about that if Tottenham don't get any more signings in. So there we go. But yeah, focus on this game tomorrow. I'm just gonna go for 2-2. I think the goal scorers is going to be Erling Haaland and Ryan Cherky for Tottenham. I'm gonna go for with Charlison to score a brace. So yeah, 2-2 is going to be my prediction for that game. Oh yeah, and also they've lost Son as well. They lost Son as well. So yeah, so it's just going to be interesting to see how if Man City can finally get to win at the Etihad without Son, without James Madison, without Kulusevski, and something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see the lineup for the Tottenham game and how Thomas Frank sets up against Pep Guardiola. So yeah, I'm going to go for 2-2 in that one. All right, the next one is Bournemouth versus Wolves. Of course, both teams did lose their opening day, but I think for me, Bournemouth were more impressive than Wolves because yes, Wolves had bare chances, but for me, Bournemouth, Semenyo took two chances and scored two of them. And by the way, I like to say, yeah, I'm not quite sure if I mentioned this last week. I'm not quite sure if I did then I don't know. But I like to say this as well. Any person who is a, who is racist to a player, whether they're black, for me they should be banned because I don't care if you're disabled. I don't care if you have autism, whether you're on a wheelchair, whether you have hearing can't hear anything or you're suddenly blind. I don't care who you are. In this life, you cannot be racist to anybody. Listen, I've done a few bad things. When I was in primary school, secondary school, you know, I called that person racist and people didn't like it. That I had to apologize straight away. I've done some bad things in life and I said that I'll not say this again. And ever since that time, I didn't call anybody that word because I know, yeah, that people are gonna get hurt and people walk away from me. So to me, I just hope that fan doesn't attend any um games for Liverpool anymore in that wheelchair because what he did was disgusting. And big up to Semenyo because that didn't affect him when he scored those two goals. So for me, if anybody, be if any, I'm talking to you guys, yeah. If you guys, if I see any more racism, then that person should be banned for life and not be watching football anymore because it's unacceptable and it's disgusting. So Semenyo will all here for you and yeah, you scored two goals, which is good, but we're all in for you. And big up to Van Dijk because he supported him as well. So there we go. So yeah, so that is it. So yeah, both teams did lose, but Bournemouth, man, you know, Bournemouth had bad chances, the likes of Adam Smith, Semenyo, Harry, Evanesian. They had so many chances. That game could have possibly ended a draw if Bournemouth took their chances, but they conceded two late goals from Chiesa and Mohamed Salah, and they lost. But Bournemouth looked really good. For Wolves, yes, they had chances, before Man City scored the goals, but they didn't take their chances. They really didn't. So yeah, both teams are looking for a bounce back, but I feel like Bournemouth are going to win this game because they are home, and yeah, they were the better team to watch against Liverpool than Wolves did against Man City. So for this game tomorrow, I'm gonna go for a yeah, I'm gonna go for a 2-0 Bournemouth win. I'm gonna go for 2-0. Goal scorers, I'm gonna go for Semenyo and Adam Smith. So yeah, 2-0 to Bournemouth. It's gonna be my prediction for that game tomorrow. I think Wolves for me, they will. I don't think they'll be relegated, but I just feel like they will just struggle this season because they lost Cunha, their best player. So yeah, 2-0 to Bournemouth is going to be my prediction for that game tomorrow. Then the next game is Brentford versus Aston Villa. Of course, both teams didn't win their opening day, because Brentford, lost 3-1 away to Forest and Aston Villa drew 0-0 against Newcastle. So there you go. So for this one, um, I feel like I feel like Keith Andrews, his first home game of the season as a new manager. So listen, he has to um bounce back and get this win, because if Brentford do not win this game, of course the fans are not going to complain, but they are going to be a bit concerned, because losing Thomas Frank was a really bad idea. Whoever the owner for Brentford is, you know, I feel like letting go of Thomas Frank was a bad idea. And that's why I had them in 17th. Because losing Thomas Frank and losing Bremer as well, Ivan Tony they've lost, and about to lose Wissa as well. For me, Brentford, yeah, I just feel like I just feel like I'm bringing the new manager as well. Yeah, I just feel like they are going to struggle. Some people have them relegated. I don't think so. But if one of the promoted teams could stay up, if they could stay up, then maybe I see Brentford being relegated. So it is what it is, man. But as a Villa, man, I mean, away from home last season, they haven't been that great. They really haven't. But for me, I feel like Aston Villa will win this game because, like I said, Brentford just losing their key manager, their key players, and they're at home as well. It's going to be interesting to see what he does in that game. So, and Brentford last season, their home form was really good, but then from January onwards, it was absolutely terrible. So for this game, I'm gonna go for I'm gonna go for Villa 2-1 win. It's gonna be a tight because GT Kuja Stadium is still a difficult place to go to, but I just feel like, yeah, Villa, they weren't that good against Newcastle, but I just feel like they are gonna get this win, and they have to win, because if they don't, then boy, Una Emery just gonna be under tiny, tiny bit of pressure here. But we'll see what happens. So yeah, 2-1 to Aston Villa is going to be my prediction. Goal score for Brentford, I don't know. But for Aston Villa, I'm going to go for um, Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins if he's still at the club. And by the way, yesterday, breaking news, Fabrizio Romano's tweeted that Unai Emery wants Nicholas Jackson to be the Aston Villa player. So, and of course, the reason why that is because these two know each other, and he did play for Villarreal, which Unai Emery was the former manager in. So yeah, so listen, if Aston Villa want Nicholas Jackson, they can have him. Because Nicholas Jackson, for me, he's a good player, but he's a liability. He is a liability. So for me, if Aston Villa want him, they can have him. I'm not going to complain so much. So we'll see what the price is for Nicholas Jackson, and if Chelsea accepted it, then they can have him. They can, because we got João Pedro and we got Liam Delap, who both are strikers. So there you go. So yeah, 2-1 to Villa. It's going to be my prediction for that game tomorrow. Then the next game, which is the two newly promoted teams, Burnley at home against Sunderland. Of course, both, Burnley lost 3-0 away to Tottenham, where Sunderland, they shocked Premier League and they beat West Ham at home by 3 goals to 0. So one team lost 3-0, the other team won 3-0. So there we go. But yeah, these two face each other in the championship, and Burnley looked like the better team. I remember that Sunderland, had two penalties, and it was James Trafford that saved two of them, and Burnley won that game 2-1. But but there is no James Trafford for Burnley because he has gone to Manchester City. So it's gonna be very interesting to see if their defense can do what they did in the championship. I'm not saying that they are gonna do what they did in the championship, but Burnley, man, I feel like it's gonna be interesting to see what happens without James Trafford, because if James Trafford was still the goalkeeper, maybe Burnley would have won this game. But yeah, without James Trafford, Burnley are in serious trouble, and I still have them to be relegated. So there you go. But for Sunderland, they did really well. They really impressed me against West Ham. I didn't think they'll win. I did say they'll win 2-1, but the fact they kept a clean sheet and won 3-0, boy, if Sunderland continue to play like this, then maybe. maybe I'll change my mind and have them staying up and potentially Brentford or Wolves to be relegated. So there we go. But yeah, it's at Turf Moor. Sunderland didn't beat them last season, but that was with James Trafford. This time, I feel like Sunderland will get this win. So for this game tomorrow, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Sunderland win. 2-1. I feel like they are going to win this time. And if they do, boy, maybe Sunderland could be the surprising team this season after all. So yeah, 2-1 to Sunderland. I feel like they are gonna win again. So it is what it is, man. So yeah, 2-1. Not quite sure the goal scorers will be in that game, but I just feel like Sunderland will get the better of Burnley. So yeah, 2-1. Right, the next game is a 5:30 p.m. kickoff, and it's Arsenal versus the newly promoted team Leeds United. Of course, Arsenal won their first game at Old Trafford, won their opening day at Old Trafford 3-1, and I would say that Arsenal did get lucky, but it doesn't matter the performance is good or bad. 3 points and winning the game is all that matters. So, whereas for Leeds United, I feel like they are lucky to win that game because to me that was not a penalty. Yes, you could say that the ball hit like this, but if you look at it carefully, his arm was close to his body, and the rule is that if your arm, if if the ball hits your hand but it's close to your body, then for me it's not a then that's considered not a penalty. So I feel like Leeds United got got very lucky there, but they did win that game, so there we go. But they have a poor record at the Emirates Stadium, and the last time that Leeds United went to the Emirates Stadium, they lost 4-1, and Gabriel Jesus scored that game, which he's not in the squad yet again. But like I said, the signing of Eberechi Eze is a very good signing. Now, do I think he's going to be in the squad for that game? No, because Arsenal just signed him 2 days ago. But Arsenal's next game, which is away from Liverpool, I feel like he will be in the squad. So there we go. But yeah, listen, there's no way. There's like Arsenal, like they have to win this league. They have to. Do I think they will? No, but they have to win this league because they signed Yokuez, they signed Eze, they signed Martin Supermendi, Nogard, Kepa, Noni Madueke as well. They have to win this league. They really have to. There's no excuses. So for this game, I'm gonna go for a 3-1 Arsenal win because I feel like Leeds will score because Arsenal defense in the Man United game did look a bit shaky, but they're also going to win this game. And I believe, unfortunately, I have to say this, that Fitz Gyökeres will score his first Premier League goal this season because in the game against Man United, he wasn't particularly that great, but this is the first game, so it's gonna take more time for him to develop. But I feel like he will score. Then I feel like Saka will score as well, and Declan Rice as well. For Leeds United, I'm not quite sure, but maybe Dominic Calvert-Lewin might score for Leeds United. Not quite sure, but yeah, 3-1 Arsenal is going to be my prediction for that game tomorrow. And then we move on into Super Sunday. So we have this is going to be a good one. Crystal Palace versus Nottingham Forest. Of course, both teams didn't lose, but Crystal Palace drew, and maybe they were lucky not to win that game. But for Forest, they beat Brentford by 3 goals to 1. Of course, yesterday I watched their Conference League game and they've already beat that team 1-0. I can't pronounce that name, but they only beat them 1-0, and that's their first goal in Europe. And John Philip Mateta decided to do that. Now, Crystal Palace are without Eberechi Eze, but Mark Guehi is still their player. Now I'm not quite sure why Liverpool are taking this too long. But if I was Chelsea right now, I'll focus on getting Mark Guehi over the line because we need a centre back. We definitely do need one, especially on the left, because Levi Cole's got an ACL. Badishaw's still injured, even though I don't rate him. Chalobah cannot play in that position because he's more of a right-footed. So for me, if I was Chelsea right now, I'll focus on getting Mark Gray here because he did start yesterday's game, and I have no doubt he will start in the game against Nottingham Forest. So for me, if I was Chelsea right now, get Mark Gray over the line. It's as simple as that. But yeah, in terms of this game, I was thinking that this might be a draw, but Crystal Palace, man, they are unbeaten in the last 11 games in all competitions. Drawing against Chelsea, draw against Arsenal, beat Liverpool in the Community Shield, beat Tottenham, beat Man City in the FA Cup as well. Like, Crystal Palace are a really good team. They really are. And the fact that we remain unbeaten in the last 11 games in all competitions is insane. Absolutely insane. So, for this game, I feel like Crystal Palace will remain unbeaten, and I feel like they are going to get this win because Nottingham Forest, yes, they won a game against Brentford, but they had Keith Andrews, they had Noah Bremo, they had no Rissa, and especially no Ivan Tony. So that's why for me, that Nottingham Forest is going to face a very, very difficult Crystal Palace team because they are a really good team. They really are. They really are. So yeah, I'm gonna go for a 2-1 Nottingham. I'm sorry, Crystal Palace win. The goal scorers is gonna be Jon Philip Mateta and Ismail Assar for Crystal Palace. For Forest, I'm gonna go for Chris Wood. So yeah, 2-1 to Crystal Palace is going to be my prediction. And that's the first home game of the Premier League season. So, yeah, 2-1 to Crystal Palace. All right, the next one is Everton versus Brighton, of course. What was Everton's last game? I've forgotten. They were away. Oh yeah, they were away to Leeds United and they did lose 1-0. But like I said, um, Everton for me, they were warped because, like I said before, for me that is not a handball. Don't get me wrong, in the first half, Everton were really, really bad. Really bad. They had zero shots on target, in that first half. They were really awful, like zero everything. In the second half, they were the better team, but they lost, which they were warped by. So there we go. But listen, this will be Everton's first ever Premier League game at the new stadium, which is Dickinson Stadium, which is at Bromley Park. So this will be the first ever Premier League game at their new stadium, and they are at home against Brighton, which they lost. I mean, sorry, they drew 1-1 against Fulham. Now listen, the last ever game at Goodison Park was that Southampton game, and they won 2-0. This game at the new stadium, I feel like Everton is going to get this win because that stadium is going to be packed. It's going to have the biggest atmosphere. Everyone will be cheering on and supporting their team. And yeah, and Brighton, let's see if they can silence um, that party on their opening Premier League game in their new stadium. So there we go. But yeah, for this game on Sunday, I'm going to go for a 2-0 Everton win, just like they did against Southampton on their final game at Goodison Park. So there we go. So yeah, 2-0 Everton. Goal scorers, I'm going to go for Decore and don't know who else might score. Maybe James Tchaikovsky for Everton. Yeah, 2-0 to Everton is going to be my prediction for that game on Sunday. So there we go. So yeah, 2-0 Everton in their first ever Premier League game at their new stadium at Bromley Park. So there we go. And then we've got 4:30 p.m. kickoff, which is Fulham versus Manchester United, of course. Both teams didn't win the opening game. Fulham drawn 1-1, and then Man United lost 1-0. But I did speak to Matisse, big up to him, and we spoken about that game. And Man United, despite losing that game, for me they looked really impressive, especially their attack. Mohamed, Cunha, cooked Arsenal's defense. The likes of Bremer as well. Dorgu, all of they were really good in that game. And I tell you what, Man United deserved, should have won this game because they had chance after chance after chance and they didn't take it. And most of their chances were straight at David Dwyer. So for me, yeah, if Man United attackers can improve on their finishing and making sure they don't put the ball past the opposition goalkeeper, that I feel like they are going to score goals, and I feel like they are going to improve last season. Because they have one game a week, and they're not going to add, and that will help them to not get any injuries. Have a full team training, and of course improve the Premier League team, because last season they finished 15th, and this season they must improve. They must improve. So for me, and also Man United do have a good record at Craven Cottage. So yeah, for this game, I'm gonna go. What has always been at Craven Cottage for Man United, 1-0. And then Bruno Fernandes from as yeah, maybe Bruno Fernandes or potentially Cunha might score in that game. So I'm gonna go for a 1-0 Manchester United win. That's what they always do at Craven Cottage, 1-0 wins, and they are gonna repeat again like they did last season. So yeah, 1-0. It might be Bruno Fernandes, it might be Cunha or Bremu, but yeah, Man United are going to get this win. They are going to keep a clean sheet. And I have no doubt they are going to score in the last minute, because Fulham, they are a really good team at home, but Man United just seem to find a way to scam a win at Craven Cottage. So yeah, 1-0 to Man United in that game. And then the other big game, which is not like the Man United Tottenham game, but another big one, is Newcastle versus Liverpool. Or should I say the Alexander Isak derby, because Newcastle um Newcastle released a statement about Alexander Isak, and Liverpool still haven't made a bid in. They still want a player, and they still haven't made a bid in. And if I was Liverpool right now, I would get this still done, because the transfer window ends in 10 days. Because today is the 22nd of August 2025, which is on a Friday, and it ends on the 1st September. So there's 10 days to go until the transfer window ends. So Liverpool better make this still quick, because they don't get Alexander Isak, then I still think they'll win the league. But they need someone that can score goals for them, because Darwin Núñez keeps missing big chances. So for me, if Liverpool need to get Alexander Isak, they have to be quick. So yeah, and also Newcastle as well. Um, um, Last week drew 0-0 against Aston Villa as well. And by the way, Newcastle done have a good record against Liverpool at St James Park, or even at Anfield. So this is going to be a very interesting one. And basically, like I said, Newcastle, those signings that they rejected, they could have at least helped them to challenge to finish in the top four comfortably, but they didn't. The only sign they had was Ramsdale and Nancy Elanga, who looked really good in that game, by the way. So there we go. But for me, I just feel like, despite Newcastle, in fact, Newcastle are very lucky that Liverpool didn't sign Isak. Because if that happens here, they would have booed him every time he touched the ball. They would have booed him. So Newcastle are lucky there. But I just feel like Liverpool, yes, they conceded 2 goals, but they still have a good attack. Like Ekitike, really, really good on his debut. Yeah, Chiesa came on and scored. You know, yeah, Liverpool attack is so good, and Goli Gakpo scored as well. So I feel like Liverpool will concede again, but I just feel like Newcastle right now, they're just not looking good at the moment. They still haven't got that win, pre-season, and they draw 0-0 against Aston Villa. So it's going to be very interesting. Now, I was thinking they might be a draw like it was last season, but I feel like Liverpool is going to be a very tight game. And you know what, yeah? I feel like I wanted to go 3-2. That's what my mind is telling me. But you know what? I'm just going to go for 2-1. It's going to be a very tight game. Very tight game. I'm looking forward to it. If I'm not busy, I might be able to do a live watch along, because I was supposed to be doing a live watch along for the Man City Tottenham game, but unfortunately, I won't be able to do that one because I will be busy on Saturday. So there we go. But on Monday night, if I'm not that busy, I might be doing the Newcastle versus Liverpool live watch along, because that is a big game. That is a big game. So yeah, 2-1 Liverpool. The goal scorers for me, I'm gonna go for Mohamed Salah and Ekitike to score. For Newcastle, maybe Ante Elanga. So yeah, 2-1 to Liverpool is gonna be my prediction. That is a tasty game to watch. I'm so looking forward to that one on Monday night. So there we go. All right, so that is it for game week 2. Let me go through them one more time. So Friday night, which is today, I've gone for a 3-0 Chelsea win in their second London derby against West Ham United. Then on Saturday's games, which is tomorrow, I've gone for a 2-2 draw between Man City and Tottenham, game of the weekend. Then I've gone for 2-0 Bournemouth win against Wolves, a 2-1 Aston Villa win against Brentford, 2-1 Sunderland win against Burnley, two newly promoted teams, by the way. They have gone for Arsenal 3-1 win against Leeds United, the newly promoted team at the Emirates Stadium. Then on Super Sunday, I've gone for a 2-1 Crystal Palace win against Forest. Both teams played in Europe, by the way. They have gone for a 2-0 Everton win against Brighton in their first ever Premier League game at the new stadium, which is Dickinson Stadium. They have gone for 1-0 Manchester United win against Fulham. Then last and not least, on Monday Night Football, I've gone for a 2-1 Liverpool win against Newcastle at St James's Park. So there we go, guys. That is the Premier League predictions for game week number 2. So do let me know in the comments down below whether you agree or disagree with my predictions. And if you got your predictions, do let me know in the comments down below. My good friend Sonny sent his predictions to me on Instagram. So if you got your predictions, you can also DM me on Instagram, or also DM comment below what your prediction as well. But yeah, man, there will be a live watching on match reaction for the game today against West Ham, so make sure you guys tune into that one. Until then, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the notifications so that you never miss any of my YouTube content, and yeah, just make sure you give your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. So yeah, man, as always, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you guys again later today for the West Ham face Chelsea live watch along at match action, and fingers crossed, hopefully a win, because if we don't, then I will be concerned. I will be. So yeah, man, take care, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Peace.